Another important or interesting model of cultural communication is the Hofstede model, right? Uh, so I would like to bring out one of those models, and each of you guys will also bring one of them out to relate it with the Thai culture, right? So I'll
Okay.
talk about the individualism versus collectivism in Thailand. So individualistic culture, like points towards the approach where individuals and goals like depend on the relationship is preferred, right? And the collectivistic one is the one that's like straight opposite. It's where sociability and interdependence with the other people within the same hierarchical level is more important. In collectivistic societies, cultures are more about respect for the authority and constantly on ongoing conflict avoidance to make people around. So it's like to keep harmony around. So it means collectivistic cultures are more family and oriented and relationship oriented than people individualistic cultures. So Thailand fits very well on the collectivistic society spectrum and demonstrates a lot of these characteristics, especially how they uh, tend to live together in a larger kind of family, right? And also they tend to try to keep harmony and avoid losing their faith, and that's a lot of strong collectivism present here in Thai culture.
The second dimension of Hofstede model we want to cover is the power distance. The power distance is defined as a level of extent people with less authority admit that the power is distributed unevenly among the members of the society. According to Hofstede Insight, Thailand scored 64 on the power distance dimension, which is considerably high and can be interpreted as a society where privilege for those with authority is acceptable. In the working aspect, this leads to a strict chain of command and decisions that are usually made from those with high authority. However, in comparison to the average score of Asian countries of 71, Thailand scored slightly lower.
Another important and interesting aspect of Hofstede model is an uncertainty avoidance. Uncertainty avoidance is a term describing the action of people to avoid uncertain situations. To avoid the uncertain situations, people set up rules and guidelines to prevent a risky action, which may lead to a unknown situation, whether that situation will result in a good or bad way. From the HofstedeInsight.com, Thai people have a score of 64 uncertainty avoidance. Therefore, Thai businesses culture have many strict guidelines for their employees to follow. Employees are closely watched by their manager to minimize their flaws in the work, and many decisions are always required by a high-ranking member to decide. This can cause the delay in the work process because there might be too much decision for the manager to look at, and the employee need to wait for it instead of deciding the decision by themselves in some situation.
In addition to Hofstede's model, we also want to bring up the Lewis model. Lewis, after visiting 135 countries and working in more than 20 of them, came to a conclusion that humans can be divided into three clear categories. That is not based on nationality or religion, but rather on behavior. And he named his typologies the linear active, multi-active, and the reactive type. So here are the definitions and characteristics of each type. First, the linear actives are more task-oriented. They are highly organized planners and complete their actions chains by doing one thing at a time, and preferably in accordance with the linear agenda. Right?
For the multi-active, persons who are characterized as multi-active are emotional and impulsive persons who attach importance to family, feeling, and relationship in general. They like to do many things at the same time and are poor followers of agenda.
The last aspect is the reactive. The reactive person are good listeners. Reactive are rarely engaged in action or discussion, preferring to first to listen and then establish the other's position, then react to it and form their own opinion. From the chart that you can see, do you guys agree that from the Lewis model, Thailand is a reactive type after China and Vietnam? Do you guys agree with it?
I would say that's pretty accurate. For example, in classrooms or like public events, whenever there's a volunteer that's asked to come out or when students expected to answer the teacher's question, right, we often see that there would be an eerily long and awkward silence. Often Thais don't want to be the first to present themselves, probably due to them not wanting to potentially lose face.
I would say so, I tell myself. But on the other hand, I also noticed that Thai can be really good listener since they wait for someone to initiate and then react to them.
So I think we can take the advantage of this characteristic by acting intuitively, being patient, and looking at a bigger picture. Eyes can be very good at emphasizing and providing views holistically.